One more question.
Sorry. Thank you very much for taking one more. My name is Danielle Pearl. I'm an alumna of the Master's Program in Democracy and Governance here from quite a few years ago. My question is, I currently work as a consultant for a federal agency, and I found your story about the reaction you were confronted with when you tried to raise these issues with policymakers to be very striking, basically a refusal to acknowledge or deal with the issue. So I'm curious, I guess on two dimensions, how do you get these very powerful companies on board with being taxed when they're not currently being taxed? And as you're proposing these very structurally oriented economic changes, do you see structural political changes that need to go along with that?
Yeah, so one of the things I say to CEOs is that this is very good for business, because if people have money to spend, it's going to come back to you. Yes, you're going to pay some taxes, but then your customers are going to get the money, and it's going to be good overall. Are there structural political changes that need to be made? I believe there are. I mean, our system right now is designed to impede action, and unfortunately, we're at a point now where we need to make some pretty big moves. Like the goal has to be to try and make those moves and then hopefully let it coalesce. And so, I mean, I have a lot of structural changes that I'm for. One example is that we should have 18-year term limits for Supreme Court justices. It makes no sense to be like freaking out if an 80-year-old has a cold. Like that doesn't make any sense. There was a constitutional, like it was someone was talking about the Constitution, how if the Founding Fathers came back from the dead, they'd be like, you mean you haven't written any new stuff? Like we actually have to start trying to update the operating system of our government for this era. And it's very, very hard. There's partisan gridlock, there's massive dysfunction. But someone's benefiting from that dysfunction, and it's not the American people. So you have to try and galvanize the American people, reclaim our democracy in a meaningful way, and then make moves that we can agree on. And I want to suggest to you all, if I become president, then the Asian man who wants to give everyone money won the presidency on the backs of that idea. It's a very powerful idea. And then Democrats and progressives will say, I love giving people money. It's like pro-family, let's do it. And then Republicans will look at it and say, wait a minute, that's a massive wealth transfer to rural areas in red states. And am I really going to stand in the way of that? And we only need 51% of Congress to get on board. So then you make that move, and then hopefully you can start making other big moves building upon a different sort of coalition.
Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. That's nice. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend.